Everyone is sacred, every life accounted for. Grow your garden, find your tribe, let your heart's burning side move your body towards the light.
I think this is the 4th day I've said this, but finally getting the skylights in. Finally cutting holes in the ceiling. It's time for me to have the brain power to start cutting holes in a perfectly good roof and let some light in on this place. So I got stuff sort of figured out. I'm gonna have one skylight here, so I need to cut this one. I need to don't cut this one, cut this one, and then our other skylight is gonna rest up against this. Did not think that it needed to get support material, but I do, so that's unfortunate. But we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna go for it. So this is definitely a struggle in my brain, and I don't want to screw it up. So we're going slow and figuring it out. We have light. I still need to put in one support beam on this side, but that's gonna have to wait till I get to town. This actually went really well. Very nice and clean cut, even with the Sawzall, which was surprising. So I'll come back in and put the flashing and stuff in here. And yeah, now I just gotta get this frame up, which is super heavy and awkward. That's pretty cool. That was definitely probably the most dumb, difficult way that could possibly be done. There. So much light. It's a productive day for sure. Section cut out for our second skylight, and yeah, just super happy with how stuff is coming along in this house. We're kind of shutting down the season here soon, so it's going to be just me solo for the next couple months. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see this place come together and become a home. Okay, got these two skylights in, sort of. I still have to do all the flashing, waterproofing, yada yada yada, but they're at least up here and out of the way. And yeah, second one went way easier than the first. I gave myself kind of a little bit of a gap, a 1/4 inch or so, and yeah, sweet. This one will open, this one's static. I think this is gonna be awesome. Welcome back to the Terraform Homestead. It is another beautiful day out here in the desert, and we're continuing on the Hyperadobe build. It's a solo build day today, so our season has pretty well wrapped up. Everyone's escaping southern Arizona. before the heat hits, but it's nice out today, and you know, honestly, don't mind the solo build day some days. So we're continuing on with the Hyperadobe, and my goal for today is for sure to get the flashing in for our skylights. This is something that is fairly new to me, so it'll be an interesting mind challenge, but I feel like I've looked up, researched enough, and kind of understand what's going on. First thing I got to do though is secure our ladder. So got some string. I'm going to screw the ladder into the house itself because when I was building my first house, had an incident and the ladder fell over while I was on the roof, and I got stuck for 5 hours in the middle of the Texas summer heat, and I didn't have my phone on me and didn't want to jump off the roof. So yeah, that was a learning experience. So now that I am solo building out here today, I am definitely keeping my phone with me and securing the ladder because I don't want to do that again. That was horrible. So alright, so there we go. We are tied in with our ladder. Again, do as I say, not as I do often. I have to learn everything the hard way, unfortunately, so. Okay, well, I was a little short on supplies, but what else is new? I got 2.5 of these guys, the sticky asphalt glue tape stuff, very scientific. Proper knowledge of what that thing is called. You can get the metal on this one and then kind of deal with some of this mess. So we got our first skylight in and all flashed and stuff. I also did not have enough of the metal flashing for this one, so we're just gonna hold off here until I can get to town next week and then get this one in. I'm also going to get a like little C-channel sort of thing to go across the front of this because safety first, and we might as well, you know, double bag it. Basically what that's gonna do is all the water that comes and hits right here is going to be shot and directed around the skylights, because these front corners are going to be our most vulnerable spots. So really there's going to be very, very little water touching there. I'd rather spend the extra 20-30 bucks just to make sure that this thing never leaks, which will be great. Coming around and cleaning up some of our asphalt paper that's kind of blown off. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just redoing like these bottom 2 or 3 layers. Got to buy another roll, which is unfortunate, but again, 20, 30, 40 bucks to keep this thing from leaking. It's going to be good. Just kind of getting it where it's not blowing around and making a mess of the place. And then right before I come in and do the roof, I'll put those other 3 rolls or 3 layers on. I'm very glad that it is just this top that's kind of screwed up, so that way I can just come right over it, so it's not going to be that big a deal. And getting in our drip edge. So we've got that ready to go. I'm going to get that in. Good morning, everybody. It is another build day out on Little Hyperadobe. So I'm up pretty early today because I'm working on getting our roof on, and we are into April now, and so basically every day in the afternoon we get the winds picking up, but it's usually pretty good in the morning. So I got to get our flashing done on our skylight and then starting to get these up, which is going to be real interesting. Doing these 14-foot panels solo, but you know, it is what it is. We're past the winter season, so the crew has kind of left, and yeah, it's up to me to get this stuff done. So I'm very excited. This morning there is a thrift store in Sierra Vista called Donate It that I very much love, and they're very much kind and supportive of what we're doing out here. I got a new tool belt. So new old tool belt, it's beautiful. And this is going to be so much nicer than my current one, because my current one I bought when I first started building my first house, and it had all the fancy bells and whistles and gadgets and pockets, and it's just so bulky and annoying. Found one that was a lot simpler. Got her some speaker wire and a pickaxe head that will probably be used for some sort of art piece, because now I have 2 of them and I kind of want to make them into the handles of the shop door. So all that for 15 bucks, pretty good. Yeah, with that we're going to get into this build. Goal is to get this done by the end of the weekend. So it's Friday now. I got today, tomorrow, and maybe Sunday to work on this. Okay, so the skylights are installed. Very exciting. Fortunately, because of course I plan things out, actually I don't ever, this actually lined up perfectly for the 10-foot panels. So I'm going to do the 10-foot panels across the bottom, and then we've got 14-foot panels that'll come on top of that, which should work out pretty nicely. We've got our little drip edge protector thing going on here, so this is sloped just very slightly this way, so that way all the water coming down from above the skylights will hopefully get caught on this little piece of C-channel, drip edge, whatever this is called, and then drain off that way. I'm a child because this is hilarious. That sucked. Yeah, super sketchy. Trying to get these up here. I think I got 3 up. I need to just do them one at a time. Take apart our other scaffolding and get that stabilized a little bit better, because it was definitely wobbling. And then we keep getting these little, not gusts of wind, but any wind on this with wobbly scaffolding kind of sucks. So I got 3 up. I'm gonna start getting these laid out, getting started. These first couple panels are always the most important to get perfectly lined up, so that way it goes nice and square across. I personally love single slope roofs because there's not a lot you can screw up as far as like weird eaves and stuff. I guess skylights, but that's why I'm like triple doing everything on this. But yeah, you can tell the wind's kind of starting to pick up a little bit, such as April in the desert. So I don't know how much farther I'm gonna get. I do want to get these secured down before I quit for the day, just in case we do get some crazy winds or something like that. But alrighty, got our first row down and it's looking good. I'm pretty happy with this. Getting around the skylight was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, which is nice. I still need to come in and put a couple more rows of screws in and get asphalt paper fixed up on this spot. And then we'll get our next row in. The second row, I mean, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get them up here because they are 14-foot panels instead of 10-foot panels. But at least once they're up here, it's pretty easy to just slide them onto the previous row, line up your ends, and go for it. So take a break for lunch and come back and knock out the rest of this. Okay, so I got the first row down, and now I need to come in and put in all of our screws. I was doing some research and it said the spacing of these screws is determined by the engineer. So, being that I'm out solo, most qualified engineer we got. So we're gonna do 18 on center and get going on this. Okay, running you guys through kind of what I'm doing here is I come in on either side and measure out our screw placement. So kind of measuring from the end there, and then 18 on center up. We do have a couple extras here, just because when I'm putting these in, I usually only put in like 2 screws per panel, just in case I have to like go back and redo anything. At least I haven't screwed down the whole thing. So those will be kind of rogue. I'm just gonna leave them. So once I get them measured out on each side, come in with a string line, and you can, this is technically a chalk line, but over this long of a distance, it's not gonna do much. So I'll come in and mark on the ends of each panel and then one in the center. So basically I'm skipping every other row and just make a Sharpie mark, and I know that's where I gotta put my screws. So then our screws are nice and straight and beautiful and perfect and wonderful. This has always kind of confused me, but I understand the logic behind it. It just seems weird. But you always want to put your screws in on top of the ridge, so that way water doesn't get around them. And yeah, we're just gonna keep doing this for the rest of forever. I love building karma, for lack of a better word that I have. This was just all kind of eyeballed and dead on. Yes, it's gonna look so good. Okay, so I screwed this up. I misremembered how many rolls it took to do this. I thought I did this all in 2 rolls, so like I would have plenty to do this top third, but I was wrong. So I'm almost out of paper. I don't have enough to do this full run in 1 sheet. I did go scrounge around our workshop and found some old stuff that's been lying around. This one looks promising that it'll get us somewhere. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna try and do is just kind of patch some of these spots here. And then I do have plenty of that asphalt sealant tape, and so I may just seal this seam, whatever I can't do that proper overlap on, because I really don't want to go buy another roll, because town's an hour plus round trip. It's more money, more time, and I want to get the roof on today. So we're gonna see how far this goes and just kind of hope for the best. Okay, so I had just enough to get the important parts. This part over here is not over the building at all. Same with that little corner over there. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna come in and put some tape on this seam just so water doesn't get under it, because I didn't want to buy more. And honestly, it's kind of nice to use up the scraps that we had over in the shop so that they're not in the way anymore. I'm gonna come in with some tape and just fix up a couple of these little spots. I'd like to get at least 1 or 2 sheets up just so this doesn't all rip up and off again if we do get some winds. Okay, so got about half of the 14-foot pieces up. Got them secured in. We're not supposed to get wind, but you never know out here. So I want to get those fairly secured down before I called it a night. But yeah, it's coming along well. I'll get the other panels up first thing tomorrow morning before get any wind. Like, and when I say wind, it's like the slightest breeze just makes this so difficult. Pretty excited. I've got a couple that I'll need to cut here, but those should be pretty easy because they're just straight cuts instead of these weird angle cuts. But honestly, that wasn't as hard as I was expecting it to be. Yeah, moving right along. Super excited. Good morning, everybody. It is day 2 of roofing metal, and I didn't realize, I don't know if I just haven't been out working as much or what, but I am sore. I'm very, very sore from climbing up and down the ladder all day yesterday. I think I got like 15 panels up yesterday, and only have another like 7 more to do. So just gonna try and get those up real quick. So yeah, while we still have this morning that is nice and not windy, and then let's get everything tacked in and move forward on this build today. Yeah, all there is to do is to do it. I got all the panels up. That is the hard part of the day. Now it's just time to tack them down. And luckily on this one, I just have a couple simple cuts to make, straight cuts over these skylights, and the one cut on the end. So we're gonna get these tacked up and move on. So super excited. We got all the boards up, all the metal up, and now I just got to get it tacked down. The super exciting thing. So I just buy these at the scrapyard. They're what they call their rainbow panels. So you don't get to choose the color, but I was gonna do 2 sets of 12 foot, but that would have mixed my colors up. So I ended up doing a set of 10 and a set of 14, so that way I got consistent roofing. These are a lot cheaper than buying them just at a Home Depot or whatever. I think they were like $3 a linear foot. But the exciting thing, I asked for 11 of each and they gave me 13, these 14-foot panels. So these 14-foot panels are what, at $3 a foot, like 40 bucks a piece. So I got an extra 80 bucks worth of free metal. So that'll probably end up going on the little tiny house over there when I finally get around to redoing that roof. But all the hard work's done. Now it's just going through and screwing all these down, and then I may actually have time to get a coat of paint on the fascia board today, so that way I can put up the rest of the trim. Okay, wrapping up for today. I've still got 3 more rows. Just ran out of screws, as pretty much always happens. So get some more screws next time I go to town and finish this up. Next steps on this is going to be painting our fascia board to keep it protected, and then getting our trim board on the front and the sides. This build is done. Done with the roof. Super happy with how this turned out. This has been such a beast of a project. We started on this roof back in mid-December. It is now mid-April. But yeah, we're done. It's exciting. that wraps up this episode. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, that like button. It goes a long way to helping our channel. And if you want to see more of this build, we've got another video queued up for you right now. Thank you guys for watching. Go build something cool as we celebrate this roof being done finally.